Hey, Ken.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, tolerable, tolerable. How are you
Good.
doing?
Oh, so far so good. You been working some DX?
A little bit. I did, I don't know how many I've told you about. I did pick up one little bitty country over there. What the heck was it? Well, anyway, I think I told you about New Zealand, Denmark, Bulgaria. Um, and I picked up one little country over there. I need to bring up my Why does my screen look funny here? I wonder. Oh, there we go. Full screen. Uh,
Antenna working okay?
yeah, yeah, it's working pretty good. Um, I had I had some problems with it that I think I told you about, where I had to take it down and retighten all those bolts that hold that
Yeah.
centerpiece to the pipe or the pole, fiberglass pole.
Yeah, we talked about pinning it if you have to,
Yeah, yeah,
down the road anyway.
yeah. Uh, I don't know. I was thinking about getting in touch with them and filing a warranty claim.
Do
So
what?
filing a warranty claim,
Yeah,
um, telling them, you know, because I tightened it, I did it exactly per the instructions. You know, they didn't give you a torque value for those bolts, which they would be helpful.
yeah, it would.
They just said tighten them where it doesn't indent the aluminum. Well, crap, if you do that, it's not very tight because
Yeah.
you got a 1/4 20 bolt, you know, you're screwing in, and
There's nothing behind the aluminum either, is there?
the fiberglass pole.
Yeah. Is it a snug fit?
Yeah, it's a slip fit, very snug slip fit, but the aluminum sleeve is very thin.
Yeah.
I mean, really thin. It's about, oh, probably 60 thousandths aluminum. You know,
Yeah,
it's not,
that's thin.
yeah, very thin.
Yeah.
And then they tell you, don't tighten the bolts enough to indent the aluminum.
Yeah,
Well, I
that's
thought
not right.
that's not tight at all. You could almost tighten it, those bolts with your fingers enough to indent the aluminum.
Yeah.
So I tightened
Yeah.
them a little tighter than that. I definitely indented the aluminum a little
Yeah.
bit.
It's not going to hurt anything if the aluminum is squeezed down against the fiberglass on the inside.
Yeah, well, I guess they were worried about you tightening it tight enough to crush the,
The fiberglass.
I
Yeah.
assume. I don't know what
Is that fiberglass hollow?
yes, it's a hollow tube,
Yeah.
but it's a fairly, it's a fairly thick wall
Hmm.
tube. It's not, because it's taking all the load
Yeah.
of that whole beam.
Yeah.
Uh, the mount slips right up inside that fiberglass tube, and that whole thing is supported. The whole center structure is that fiberglass tube. Everything in on the antenna hangs off that fiberglass tube,
Yeah.
uh,
Seems
or
like a
or that center um, mount in the center.
center bushing.
Yeah, whatever you want to call it. That
Yeah. Seems like that ought to be a solid piece of fiberglass.
yeah, it could be, or I guess it has to be insulated because you don't want to. I don't think a conductor running up through the center of that thing. But yeah, it's working okay. I checked the SWR on it on up in the phone band where I usually am on 20 meters, and 17 meters. Boy, that of course that's much narrower range of frequencies, but
Yeah.
that thing is really, I mean, it's almost 1-to-1 on 17 meters.
17's a good band too.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of good DX on 17 recently.
I've done pretty good on 17. Some of my best DX contacts were on 17.
Yeah.
And it, you know, usually if 20 is working, 17's working.
Yeah. Whenever I power up my rig of a morning, I normally start at 6 meters and work my way down till I get to a band that's pretty active, and I'll stay there for a while. And 6 has been open a little bit. I've worked nothing fantastic. I worked a couple of Canadians, and I worked Puerto Rico and half a dozen stateside on 6, but I'm looking for the big opening so I can add some more countries to 6 meters.
When do you think 6 will open up?
Last year, probably 3 weeks back from now, last year, I worked some South American stations on 6. This year, best DX I've seen so far is Puerto Rico, but it should open up this summer. So hopefully it will. And I've been working on my converting my big vertical out back to 160 meters, and I've got that done. And I have a remote tuner at the base of it, so I can tune it from inside the shack. So I can key the transmitter and push my little button and tune it for the lowest SWR from inside the shack.
Wow.
And
cool.
Right now it's setting SWR is like 1-to-1. I mean, it's flat.
Wow.
So
how does that tuner work on?
I've got a homemade tuner at the base of the vertical, and I've got one of them gray electrical boxes out there. Inside of it, I have a vacuum variable with a 12-volt geared motor, and here inside the shack, I have a little control panel that I can switch the polarity on the motor to make it go forward and backwards to tune more capacitance or less capacitance. And so I can key the transmitter, and I've got a push button switch on this little box in here. So I can push that button and I can see my SWR go up or down. If I'm going the wrong way, I just flip that switch and push the button and go the other way until it's down to 1-to-1.
So it's an air variable capacitor, is that right?
No, it's a vacuum variable.
Vacuum variable.
Vacuum variable. Yeah.
Explain that. What is a vacuum variable?
This one is, I can't remember if it goes from almost down to 0 to 1,000 picofarads, and it looks like a big old vacuum tube, and it's got a shaft coming out one end and 2 posts on it for the connections to it. And you turn that shaft and it's like a screw drive, pushes a piston inside of it, and you can see it because it's clear glass, and you can see it screwing in and out in there to change the capacitance. And
so it's got a fixed piece in there and a piece that you move up and down inside that?
Yeah, it's got like a bellow in there. You can see it looks like copper bellow that collapses and expands as you turn the shaft. And this one here, I mean, this is handled up to like 20,000 volts. It's a really, and they make it a lot bigger than that. I've had them bigger than that, but for this is all I need. This is the one, the vacuum variable that I used for the tuner on 630 meters.
Oh, okay.
I just modified it a little bit. Already had the box built for 630, and it also has a variable inductor in there, but I don't need it for 160, so it's just unhooked. But I left it in there in case they want to go back to 630. But that And that vertical really works for 160 meters. It's going to be a honey waiting for next winter to try to get, I can't remember how many. I've got 80 some countries on 160. So I need, I don't know, 18 or 20, I think. Hopefully I'll get them next winter. And
So 160 is not a summer band then, I take it, is that?
no, it's a wintertime, nighttime band.
Okay,
Daytime, local stuff on it. Yep, 80's the same way. 80, you don't get much distance on 80 in the daytime, but at nighttime, 80 picks up, as does 40.
have you got an antenna that works on 80?
Yep, I have my unipole. It's made for 80, and it also works on the other HF bands.
And that's a vertical type antenna too?
Yep. It's a 30-foot piece of 4-inch diameter irrigation tubing.
Okay, that one, yeah. Yeah. Well, I think you're pretty well fixed on antennas.
Yeah, I can go from 160 to 432 megahertz.
Wow. And you've worked them all.
Yep.
What was the frequency of those amps that you used to build?
That was 630 meters, and that's 475 kilohertz
So they were,
below the broadcast band.
yeah, real low frequency. No?
Yeah, and also I built the amp for 2200 meters, which is 137 kilohertz.
Okay. What kind of power output were they?
200 watts.
You show them your giant print of one of your pictures?
No, I haven't.
Good.
Bring it in here and I'll show it to them. My son,
20 by 24.
yeah, my son took one of my astro pictures that I done, and he had a 20 by 24 made for me for my birthday.
Wow.
We don't have it framed yet.
When was your birthday?
It's Friday.
Oh, it's coming up.
Yeah, I'll be 83.
This is the front side.
Okay. You take it. There we go. Big picture.
Might have to back
Is that right side up?
Wow. And that was taken from your telescope?
Yeah, and that's a 20 by 24 print with no grain.
Good grief. What kind of resolution does that camera have?
It's I can't remember. What is it? 4,000 dots per inch, I think.
It wasn't a JPEG, it was using TIFFs.
Yeah, this was shot with TIFFs.
105 megabyte TIFFs.
Yeah. One image is, I can't remember how big the file is. How much?
105 megabytes. So high res.
105 megabyte for one image, yeah. And then we stack a bunch of them together. So
Kind of doing an angle to
yeah, a lot of these, a lot of the files that we process are up into gigabytes because we stack a bunch of pictures together.
That's a fantastic photo.
The shutter's open for 4 or 5 minutes, and we might shoot 100 or so images, and then computer programs stack all them together.
So you don't move the camera any while that's going on. You don't.
It moves
The
by itself.
telescope tracks whatever your target is.
So it compensates for rotation of the Earth.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you have to. Otherwise, your image would be streaked. So
Yeah, with all the neat tricks they're doing with software anymore in photography, I thought maybe you took those in. I didn't know whether you had to track it or not. I thought maybe you could just stack them and.
well, with the shutter open for 5 minutes, the Earth rotates quite a bit.
So you'd be probably totally out of frame if you weren't tracking it.
Well, not quite that bad, but it would definitely have streaks. Every one of them be streaked, and you could never get a image out of it. But this tracks them, but it's I mean, this thing is moving slow to track with the Earth, and there's the main camera that takes the picture, and then there's a guide camera that locks onto a star close to your image, and that's what keeps you on target. And then there's another camera that helps you align your telescope to the North Star. And then there's another camera that takes a picture of the sky, and it has images stored in it, and it compares the picture you took with this little camera, not the main camera, to the stored images, so that the telescope knows where it's looking in the sky and where you're at on Earth. And you do all of that stuff before you start taking pictures. You get all of that stuff lined up and doing that.
Wow. How long have you been doing the space photography?
Oh, I'd say 6, 7 years probably.
Oh, well, that's fairly recent.
Yep. But the images up there hadn't changed much.
No, true. Very little has changed. Well, I guess there's explosions and gas clouds and things that do change, but over.
This is a Orion Nebula. That's what that picture was. And I like nebula pictures because they have a little bit of color in them. Planets are just blah, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I don't shoot planets, I shoot nebulas. Hey, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
How are you guys?
Okay. I wanted to mention to you guys about, do you have your logging program working? Are you satisfied with how it's working? And have you learned how to download all the data from a contact that you make? If you make a contact and log it, you don't have very much data in there, like their name and QTH and all that stuff. Well, there's a way you can load all of that stuff in from qrz.com. Have y'all done that yet?
No, I just, the way I got their name in there is I keep QRZ up open on the computer, and I just flip over to it and get their name.
Okay, I can show you guys how it will fill all that stuff in automatically.
That'd be great.
So if you open up your logging program, I will show you that now.
Let's see.
Maybe the wrong mouse.
Will I lose Zoom if I minimize?
I didn't minimize. I just opened the logging program.
What, on split screen or on a different?
No,
computer?
it just covered up. It's full screen. It just covers up the Zoom. My Zoom is full screen. I opened the logging program. It just covers it up. Still working.
Still hear us, Bill. You just won't be able to see us.
Yeah, you won't be able to see us.
Well, I'll try. Worst I can do is have to log back into Zoom.
I don't think it's gonna mess with Zoom.
Well, I can still hear you.
Yeah. You got your logging program up?
No, okay, I'm opening the wrong program. I was opening QRZ. That's not the one I want, right?
Yeah, you want to open your AC log program, your N3FJP amateur contact log.
If they want to know, it was Red River Digital at 829 Northwest 4th, right off of Western downtown.
Okay.
Scotty is the person to ask for.
Okay.
Okay, I've got the logging program open.
Oh, okay. Up at the top, there's a one up there called Call Book. Just click on that. And then scroll down a little bit. And there's one called QRZ Internet Lookup. Put a check mark on the left side of that. And when you get that done, let me know.
So open call book, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, not open call book. QRZ Internet Lookup.
Yeah. But call book is the tab.
Call book is a tab, and then go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where it says QRZ Internet Lookup. And put
Okay,
a
but
check mark on that.
okay, I may not have my QRZ password though.
I don't know that you need it. Did it ask
Well,
for
it's
it?
asking me for my
Oh,
username and password on QRZ.
You should only have to put that in once, Bill, on this amateur contact log.
so you've already done that, Mike?
Yeah,
Let me see if I've got it written down.
Are you using that feature?
yes, and I like it because when you bring them up on FT8, or if you put their call sign in the call box, it automatically populates the date
Yeah,
and their name and state and
Yeah.
a few other details.
yeah, it's pretty handy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's there. We might as well be using it. It helps me a lot. Well, whenever I download my my contacts from Logbook of the World, a lot of times it don't have that data in there.
Right.
So I go and add that data to it. It comes from qrz.com. It's free. So
well, I think right now I don't have QRZ lookup. I've got call book internet.
yeah,
It says
I don't.
free.
But does that call book internet? It doesn't do the DX, does it?
That's right. I'm reading it now. It says USA only.
Yeah. So don't do that one.
I'm going to undo that one.
Uncheck that one and click the QRZ lookup.
You can even open the image in their bio page if you want.
Okay. Have you got that, Bill?
Yeah, I got it done.
Okay, and then just click somewhere and that'll go away. And then now you're looking at your log,
Right.
and you can see over on the right-hand side under comments, you probably don't have very much information over there, do you?
No, nothing.
Okay, so what you do is on that top one in there, click on it with your left mouse click, and it'll turn blue.
Click on comments.
Well, on that log, on that file, that logged file, which you could click on comments. That line will turn blue.
The top line.
Yeah, click on your top contact.
Okay, I've got the top line. Turn
Okay,
blue.
Turn blue. Okay, now hit the hit the how many contacts? Well, we'll just do a couple of them to show you. And then
Okay.
you can do the rest of them. So hold down the shift key now, and then highlight a few of them. Just go down the row and click on them, 4 or 5 of them or whatever.
Okay,
and then go over top left where it says edit. Click on it or put your cursor over edit and a drop down box will come down. And the second one down, it says fill,
now where's
determined by, and then,
edit in the very top line up here next to file?
yeah, edit.
Okay,
And then you go down to where it says fill determined by call, but you're not going to do it by call. You're going to go over to the right and then scroll down to selected records. So the
Okay.
ones that you highlighted in blue, it's going to do the data to those. So click on that and it'll go do it.
okay, I'm getting a message that says QRZ get bio function must be disabled to continue. It is now disabled to enable it after running.
Just click OK and see if it works.
Okay, and then it says fill fields from call.
Yeah,
Click OK.
click OK.
Says there was an error obtaining a key on signing into QRZ lookup. Please verify your system is online and that you have entered the correct username and password.
You have to have QRZ on. or
Okay,
It's gonna pop up like that every time.
okay, I don't have QRZ on.
I ran into the same errors.
I don't have QRZ on either. No, I don't have QRZ open.
Well,
But wait a minute, maybe I do.
we're getting those.
No, I
You
don't.
might have it running in the background somewhere.
No, it's not.
Oh,
QRZ's not running on. Well, actually, I didn't do it. So I don't know if it'll work or not. So probably most of the time I do have QRZ running. So go ahead and open QRZ and then try.
Well,
it.
there's a green bar across the top that's progressing across the top. It's doing something.
Okay, so it's doing it.
Is that what I'm looking for? Is that green bar?
Well, it should be going all the way across the top and,
Slowly
Every
going
time.
across the top.
huh?
The green bar is slowly moving across the very top of,
Is your internet slow? Man, mine moves across at lightning speed.
well, my internet is probably not as fast as yours. It runs from 30 to 100. Right now, it's probably closer to 30.
So
Huh.
has it filled in any data over in the comments field?
Not yet, but
That's not-
it keeps popping up saying an error obtaining a key on signing into QRZ lookup.
Well, I don't know. I don't
Well,
know.
it's probably because I don't have QRZ open.
Maybe so. So
I don't
I
know.
just opened it though, and I'm still getting those errors. I'm trying a different line, but I only got it one time. Maybe it just needs to work its way out.
well, let's put it this way. Whenever I first loaded my log of 17,000 plus contacts into this logging program, I did that and put the data in for 17,000 and some contacts. And it only took about 5 minutes to do that.
Really? Oh, the country I was telling you about that I got that I was kind of proud of was Estonia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. I don't think there's a lot of hams there. I used to work this guy on 2 meter moon bounce that was from Estonia. I worked him several times and he didn't mind telling me that he's running 3 kW.
Well, I don't doubt this guy is. There's a picture on I guess on his QRZ page of the antennas farm that they're using,
Yeah.
and it is
all together.
it's amazing. I mean,
Sound.
Yeah, those
Oh,
moon
Mike.
bounce guys got some big antennas. Hello, Mike.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Mike.
I'm
Well,
up. Here we go.
did you get it going, Bill?
It's doing something here. I'll probably have to play with it a little bit offline and
Maybe you ought to close it and then open QRZ and then go back and try it again. Maybe QRZ has to be opened. What have you been up to, Mike?
Oh, golfing today and yesterday.
Golf,
Golf.
man. It was
Heat wave.
it was
82 today.
It was too hot here today for golf.
Yeah, were you in the 90s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And pretty humid today.
Yeah. We have fire danger. It's dry and windy, and we haven't had rain in over a week.
We've had some pretty good rains lately. My weeds are really growing good.
And I haven't been on the radio for probably 2 weeks.
Fellas, time to get back on there.
Yeah.
I've been working a lot of DX lately.
I see you got your certificate.
I did.
Well,
Got the
congratulations.
5-band DXCC and then 3 more bands added to that,
Yeah, congratulations.
which gives me 80 through 10. And I need 20 or so more on 160, and I've got about 38 on 6 meters. So I'm going to work on 6 meters this summer. Might be able to get a few more countries. Slow go on 6 meters, man.
When do you eat and sleep?
Oh, I don't, I'm not in this radio room very often. I have it running and I come in here and check every once in a while to see if anything pops up that I need.
Yeah.
And whenever you get 150 countries, not too many of them pop up that you haven't worked before.
Nope.
So
Nope. Well, that's a good one.
I did confirm Israel today on 20 meters.
so I go under edit and then I go down to which
Let me open it up. Yeah, you go edit and then go down to where it says fill fields determined by. So you just put your cursor over that and go over to the right and go down to where it says selected records. That's those 4 or 5 records that you had highlighted.
okay.
And
It still says there was an error obtaining a key on signing into QRZ lookup. Please verify.
are
your
you signed in to QRZ on your
Yeah.
computer?
Yeah. Please verify your system is online and that you have entered the correct username and password.
Okay. Well, whenever you go on the
Then
top,
they have to run through that.
on the top up there, when you go to call book and you scroll down to internet lookup, when you click on that, does it ask you to put in your password?
Just go under them.
When I sign into QRZ,
No, on the login program.
no, because I've got a password editor that keeps all that data, and when I click on something, it looks up the username and password automatically, so I don't have to enter it.
Did it, could you tell if it done that or not on this? Well, maybe Mike, did you have to enter your password whenever you done that?
No.
I don't remember.
It asked me to, okay, I'm trying it again, Bill, and it says there's an error obtaining a key on signing into QRZ lookup.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. That's
Yeah.
the message I'm getting.
Yeah.
Close.
So let me go to e-logs and look at, no, I don't have one there.
I have,
I
I
was
haven't
thinking I could look at
putting good yet.
QRZ on e-logs, but you can't.
That's the,
Yeah,
takes
that's the main
putting
thing.
practice.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear you, Mike.
I was thinking I could go to e-logs and look, but I can't see QRZ on e-logs. When I
Yeah,
first,
they got just thrown into water. It's freezing. Oh, the deer are here.
Bill, we must not be holding our mouses right or something.
I don't understand that.
Now it doesn't want to let me out. Oh, there I got out.
You may have to read the help file.
Well, at least I know the steps to go through.
Yeah,
I can
Well,
play-
it's really nice because, you know, a lot of times you don't have all the data. It just fills in fields in split second. And I do it whenever I whenever I upload my WSJTX file to Logbook of the World, I pull it into the logging program. The problem that I have is my computer and my K3 rig that I use for doing WSJTX is on a different computer than my logging program. So I bring the file over to this computer and import it into the logging file. And it has hardly any information there that comes from the log in WSJTX. WSJTX digital programs has its own log in it, Bill. And so I import that log, which doesn't have the information like the guy's name and state, county, and all that stuff. But this logging program will import all of that stuff for you, and it does it fast. So I think once you get it set up right, it'll be worthwhile doing for you.
Well, I know this. I know the steps. I think I'll play with it. Well,
Do you MAF, Mike? What do you use? What logging program do you use?
I use N3FJP
Okay, that's what
and
we're
Logbook of
talking.
the
That's
World.
what we're talking about. So do you do that?
I,
Do you pull in the data
yeah,
from
I'll have that up and I'll have the WSJT up and I'll have what's the other one called? The alert up.
yeah,
And then when I get a hit, I go into QRZ and I get the guy's name,
mhm.
state and county, if it's US.
Does it
And
do
then
it
I-
automatic?
No, it doesn't automatically
Well,
fill
see,
it
this
in.
is what I'm talking about, is it will do it automatic.
I don't know how you do that.
Okay, well, that's what I'm telling Bill how to do, and Mike.
Okay, start over then.
All right,
No, the way I do it now, though, I look up their name, state, and county. I put them in N3FJP, and then it populates it into the other.
okay,
If it does it automatically, I better find out how.
that's a lot easier.
But then
How many,
I feel like I need to do some of the work on.
well, if you feel that way, you go ahead.
we don't mind. The
You want
more
me to-
automatic I can make it, the better, as far as I'm concerned. But
Yeah. Well, I don't want to start entering data like counties and guy's name and state and country and all that stuff. I'd rather do it automatic. Mainly
Well, it'll
because,
automatically fill it. It'll automatically go there. I just add those extra things. Just in case one day I all of a sudden find out I've got every county. I go, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
that
that-
that'll ever happen.
that's another thing. See, when you go into the awards, it tallies all that stuff up for you on counties and grid squares and all that stuff. States work, countries work.
There's another tab on QRZ about available call signs and call signs that will be coming available.
Yeah. Mhm.
And I was noticing on there that there's K5WB, which is my initials, WB.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking about switching it over.
Yeah. Is it there now or coming?
Well, I think it was one of the ones that said it will be opening up at the end of the month, or
I would put in for it because that's a pretty good call.
And then it's yours forever.
Yeah.
what do I have to do to?
I've never done that, but I have my original call, but that's a vanity call, and that I think that place right there that you're talking about will do it for you. I think you have to click on that, and I've never done it, so you have to click on that and go through the steps and see how to do it.
Okay,
I
I'll
think
figure
it
that.
costs you money. I don't know. How much
probably
is
not
it?
too much.
No, I would.
Yes, that's not a lot.
Although fees has gone up, so that may have gone up too, or they've started charging now.
Yeah,
For
it
your
seems like they
analyzer.
want $35 for everything now,
Yeah.
but I don't particularly like the call sign I've got. I don't like the 6-character call for one thing.
Yeah, the shorter the better.
Yeah, for sure. Because
Yeah.
you're trying to work those DX stations and
Yeah.
there's a G people in the pile up and you're trying to get your call across and
Trying to do 6 calls with phonetics and
right.
somebody is transmitting on top of you and they have a hard time getting it.
Exactly.
The other day I listened at 20-meter sideband and man, it clear as a bell and some good DX coming in.
Your audio quit, Kim.
That's good. Hello, test. 1, 2.
He still doesn't know it.
Can you hear me now?
Ken, you're muted. You're
I'm
muted.
He's
Now I
not
can hear
muted.
you.
I can kind of hear him in the background, but just barely.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hello, test.
Oh,
That's
hey,
better.
perfect.
What is going on with this crazy thing? Dies every once in a while.
Oh, well, he comes back to life.
Yeah.
So, Bill, do you have a list of your countries in front of you?
Oh, I've got a little partial list.
Well, you can go to your logging program and
Yeah, I got that open. What was the last one you just got?
Estonia.
Estonia.
Well, you're ahead of me. I've only got, of course, they list Alaska as a country. I don't know why.
Because it's a country. It's a
Oh,
country
okay.
and a state both.
It's outside of the
Outside.
48.
Yeah. And so is Hawaii.
Alaska, Argentina, Australia, Austria, and the Azores.
Bill, click on awards and
On the logging program or
the logging program.
Okay,
Click on awards,
hang on a minute here.
and then right below that it's I already got it open.
Yeah, I've got the logging program up now. And where do I go?
The first one down.
Do I open one of the tabs at the top?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, the first one down. I can't see what it is because my microphone is clipped on the top of the monitor. It's got that part covered up. Okay, I'll go back, tell you what it is.
Is it file or edit or settings or?
No, it's, you click on awards. It's the top, in the top row across the top of your logging program. It says boards. If you will just put the cursor over that and go down one to states, countries,
Oh, yeah, okay, I found it. I found it.
click on that. I gotta move my mic back over now. And then if you want to see all of them on all bands, up at the top left where it says band, there's a down arrow there. Click the down arrow, it'll show all the bands. You
On
take the
countries, countries, click on worked.
No, on the top left part where it says band.
Oh, okay. Put in,
No, just click the down arrow there
Leave it
Okay.
blank.
and it'll show all of the things. And
Yep,
scroll up to the blank. And then scroll down and hit calculate.
so I don't put 20 meters in there or,
No, we're gonna look at all your bands.
okay, so I don't want the band thing. Just
You-
leave band blank.
Yeah, go scroll all the way up. Use a slider on the board. Slide up and click the blank spot. Then click calculate,
Then click calculate, okay.
straight down from the band.
And it'll look like nothing's happening for a while and then all of a sudden they'll populate.
Mine populates.
Okay, yeah,
immediately.
it populated really quick.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've got the list.
So it says worked.
I've got 20 countries.
All right. So you can do it by band, but if you do it like this, you get them all.
Yeah, most of them are on 20, a few on 17, but that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20 countries.
So you're getting there.
I got China on here and I can't remember which station I worked that was in China unless they're counting Hong Kong as
Well,
part of China.
I can tell you how to find that out.
Okay,
Uh,
do I double click China?
no, I'm gonna close this.
Oh.
This part and go back to your logging program.
All right,
Go down to the bottom right, to the right-hand side where it says country.
wait a minute, I gotta find the X. There it is at the top. I don't have a country.
You look at your normal logging program.
Yeah,
Down at the
Oh, yeah.
bottom on the right side, above
Yeah.
where it says log contact, above where it
Mhm.
says timeout, there's a country.
okay,
It's in dark blue, see it?
yeah, and then scroll.
Down below it, there's a drop down, there's an arrow. Click that and it gives you a drop down list of all the countries. You can scroll down to China, or you can type China in there where it says country.
Huh,
Tell me when you got China.
I
China.
got it, but it's not gonna tell me anything because I'm working a station on the FTA. Okay, he just went away.
But that don't matter. You're
Okay, I
not-
got
you're
China,
not- You're not working him with the log.
I got China in there.
Okay, now go up there to the top where it says search.
Yeah,
Click on that. It'll bring up all of your stations in China.
well, isn't that wonderful?
I got 26 of them. I've got 26 stations in China.
In China?
Let me
You
hit the
know,
clear button first because
Are you having any luck aiming to the west and trying to get Asia like Japan and,
Yeah. Most of it is around 320 degrees.
I found him.
Okay.
It was a BG7XVX
All right.
and it was an FT8 on 17 meters.
Hey, all right. 17 meters is pretty good.
Now,
I've got more countries than I do states.
Yeah, you've been working on countries.
I've got 15 states and 20 countries.
Yeah. I've got two contacts in China on 2 meters. 2-meter moon bounce.
that's pretty good.
And
And
says I've got 320 countries remaining.
No, you don't. You don't have that many. 'Cause you
Well, it
got,
says work 20 and remaining 320.
okay, yeah, gotcha. See that logging program, man, it does a lot of stuff.
It
Yeah.
does. It does. It's nice. It's a very nice program.
And the way you look for that country, Mike,
Uh-huh.
you can, on the logging program, all of those where it's in dark blue, the call, date, band, mode, all that stuff. You see the band has a down arrow by it and the mode has a down arrow,
Yeah,
the country and the county. Well, you can, for instance, you could go to the band and click that down arrow on band and then go to, say 20 meters and then hit the search button and it'll pull up all the stuff you worked on 20 meters.
yeah,
And you can do the same thing in mode. You could use the mode and you can even duplicate those. You can do the 20-meter band and then do FT8 mode and or whatever. I'm going to do CW. See how many CW contact and then
he's,
then I do search. I got 274 CW contacts on 20 meters. And then if you want to go further, you can put in the country and see how many contacts you have on CW or
Yeah.
whatever mode you use for those countries.
I copied his call over to QRZ and looked him up and looking at his town on the map. Of course, it doesn't mean much to me. I don't know where all these towns are close to each other, but he's west of Hong Kong.
So you're looking at the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's north of the ocean by probably 20 miles.
I don't know, for some reason, I've swung my antenna around to, around 320, 330,
Yeah.
listening for something out of Asia, and I'm just not hearing anything out of
Aren't you
Asia.
hearing anything out of Australia?
Well, I work New Zealand.
Yeah, that's right.
That's fairly close to Australia, but
Yeah. Well, you're on 20 meters, Bill?
yeah, mainly on 20 and 17.
I was gonna, mine's on 15 meters over there right now and it's decoding. Oh man, there's a lot of activity on 15 right now on FT8.
Yeah.
Okay, so this logging program is just super. It does all kinds of things. Well, here's a station I work today, Mike.
Uh-huh.
Plug this call sign into your into QRZ.com. It's 9 Mike 2 TO. 9 Mike 2 TO. That's Western Malaysia. It's an island off the coast of Western Malaysia. I worked him today on 15 meters. Penang Island, that's what it's called. You find it?
Yeah, he doesn't have much of a page. But I got it. Let's see if I can
Click on the map and
find this map here.
zoom in or out.
I might
Look.
zoom way out.
Yeah, I always have to zoom out because it's got them zoomed into the street level.
Yeah, it is.
Too close for me to figure out where they're at.
And what's the name of that body?
Penang Island.
Yeah.
It's in,
Oh,
West,
Penang. Okay.
in West Malaysia.
All right. I see it now. It's they list that the same type as the cities, and it's hard to find it, but it's there. They have a bridge going to the mainland.
Yeah, it's a road that goes over there, a bridge. I don't remember what the distance is. What's the distance?
Well,
9,000 miles or something?
oh, away from us?
Yeah,
Don't know.
it's on the detail page.
Yeah, I'm looking,
So you're on the detail page.
9,386.2 from my house.
Yeah, that's with 80 watts
Yeah,
and my unipole antenna,
Is that what you normally run on FT8, Ken, 80 watts?
80 watts. How about you, MAF Mike? How much power you run? 50 watts? Yeah, that's reasonable. I was running less on the higher bands, but I needed more power on 80 meters, so I cranked it up to 80 and I've just left it there.
I crank it up if there's a station I'm trying to get that can't hear me.
Yeah,
I guess some people run pretty high power on FT8.
oh, yeah. You can tell by their color on the waterfall.
on the waterfall, them high-powered guys running big red line, vertical red
Yeah.
line on there. But I worked a guy in Caribbean the other day. He was plus 25.
Mm,
Can you imagine that?
that's ridiculous. He's probably running a KW.
And that's ridiculous. Running power on a weak signal mode. And that's why a lot of those guys that you can hear them, but they can't hear you because they're running high power and
Yeah.
they can't hear our 80 watts or 50 watts.
Well, every time I hit this, Ken, I get that error message that it can't connect. So I'm going to go back to my other my other means of getting the information in.
What is your other means?
That one that's just the USA only.
Okay, it doesn't give you the X.
It's
Well,
not
it sounds
giving
to me
me,
like there's something that I don't remember about setting that up.
it's not giving me anything. The QRZ internet lookup's not giving me anything that I want.
Okay,
Although,
well, you said it had an error, so it couldn't give you anything.
yeah, every time I put a call in, and the QRZ lookup URL is weird. That may be why.
I guess you're gonna have to read the help file on that.
Yeah.
Or watch a YouTube or something on it, because I didn't have any trouble setting it up and it worked the first time for me. And I had 17,000 QSOs in there to fill in those fields.
Uh-huh.
And it fills in the states, the county, the guy's name, and then further over in the comments, it puts more stuff. So I don't remember if I had to put in a password or not, but I do know that normally I have QRZ.com open on this computer, and I have my email open, and I have this logging program all open, maybe not displaying, but down in the tray.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I go through the procedure like I showed you, where you highlight a line and or however many ones you want, and then go up there to edit and fill fields determined by, and then click on selected records, which is the ones you highlighted. It just fills them in immediately. So
Well, I'll play around with it. I can probably get it figured out. And if worse comes to worse, I can read the help file.
yeah, or watch a YouTube on it. That would help you guys to watch a YouTube on that logging program. there's so many features in there, you hate for you not to be using them.
Well, true, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, when I first turned everything on and started playing around a little bit, one of the first stations I heard was Japan,
Yeah, it's good.
loud and clear.
Fantastic.
And
On 20 meters.
yeah, but I tell you, I haven't been able to get anything out of Asia since then. I don't know, is there a good time, our time for Asia?
Yeah, and used to, whenever I did a lot of sideband, Europe was good in the morning and Asia was good in the evening.
Evening, like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock?
Yeah, until 20 meters closes. Point
Which is
your,
about sundown.
yeah, point your antenna. 300 degrees or so for Asia, like Malaysia and Japan, China, places like that. It's around you can, you can find that out on QRZ.
Yeah.
With your antenna, but 320 degrees is, almost like you're pointing toward Alaska, which is 320 degrees.
Yeah.
And then Australia and New Zealand is down around 240 degrees.
Yeah, I heard that
And-
guy in New Zealand, I guess on the back side of my beam.
Yeah,
And when I heard him, I rotated around in that direction and
yeah,
was
And-
able to talk to him just fine.
yeah.
It was-
Signal
it was a
come
good
up
contact.
probably.
And he actually talked for a little while.
Yeah,
Most of those,
Yeah.
most of those DX contacts don't want to,
yeah.
give
I
me
used to
a
talk
signal
to
report and get off.
I used to talk to a guy in Australia that on 10 meters, that's back when 10 was open real good. And he didn't want to, he wanted to sit and rag chew with everybody for 5 or 10 minutes, And that guy's, he would giggle every time he'd tell me his QTH. It was Black Bud Australia. And he's in my logbook. I looked him up the other day.
So, yeah, mainly I have been working, afternoons and generally off by, 5 or so in the afternoon. So,
Well, you should be getting some Asia calls in the afternoon before you get off, and even New Zealand and Australia, some of those islands down there, New Caledonia, I worked them, and Fiji Island, and Taiwan and Thailand and Malaysia, and
so does it help to wait till we're in our gray zone, or
again,
does it help if I wait until we're in our gray zone or
our gray line?
gray line?
I don't pay much attention to it, but I do know that signals pick up pretty good during our gray line. So you might get a dB or so more.
Every dB helps.
Yeah, but you should be able to have no trouble working over there. There's a lot of stations in Malaysia. And,
I've been to Malaysia.
huh?
I've been to Malaysia
I know you have.
one time,
Yeah.
but we went to, what was the name of it's where we had a plant there that manufactured
Singapore.
flying heads.
Singapore.
Well, yeah, Singapore's not part of Malaysia.
No,
It
it's
used to be.
Indonesia, isn't it?
Huh?
Is it Indonesia?
No, it's its own, it is a country.
Yeah, I know it, but it's on Malaysia, right?
Well, it's really an island. There's a causeway over to Malaysia.
Mhm.
Um, a short bridge, maybe a half a mile long or something like that.
Yeah.
So, because a lot of people, Seagate used to bus a lot of Malaysians in to work in the factory there
Mhm.
because the labor in Malaysia, of course, was a lot cheaper than the
Yeah,
labor in Singapore. The
yeah,
wages in Singapore, I mean, they got up and are really high. I
yeah,
mean, that's not a cheap labor country anymore.
yeah,
When we first went over there and opened up manufacturing, labor was reasonable, quite a bit cheaper than the US, but the longer we worked there, the more the wages went up, and they finally got almost completely out of Singapore. The big new plant that they had built there back in the 1990s, they closed that sucker, or sold it, or did something with it, and moved everything to China. And they're still, of course, they're still in Thailand, but
yeah.
Thailand is still pretty cheap labor.
Yeah.
Wasn't in Malaysia too long, a couple of days, something like that.
There's a lot of islands over there.
Oh yeah, there's a jillion of them around there, down around Indonesia.
Yeah. I worked in Jakarta the other day too. That's considered Malaysia,
No, Jakarta's Indonesia.
Indonesia. Man, how do you tell the difference?
Well, Malaysia, comes down from, there's a long skinny neck that
Yeah.
comes down from Thailand, but Indonesia is a whole group of islands
Yeah,
down farther south.
yeah,
And it's made up of, I don't know, probably hundreds and hundreds of islands. Some are inhabited and some are not. There's a YouTube I watch occasionally about a pilot. He's really a bush pilot that flies turboprop, single engine turboprop over there for I don't know if it's a missionary type thing or something else, but he flies from into a lot of those islands, little islands, and boy, some of the landing strips he flies into will curl your hair. I mean, it's unbelievable. Little grass strips up on the side of a mountain, and I don't know.
You'd have to be a bush pilot.
Oh yeah, he is. He's a good pilot. He's good, and he's got a lot of guts. I'll tell you, to fly into some of those places.
Well, I'm surprised you're not here in Indonesia and Malaysia.
Well, I'll try it a little later in the evening, maybe around, I don't know, 5 or 6, and see if I can, because that,
try it until 20 meters closes up, which could be this time. I don't know. I'm still getting stuff on 15 meters, so that means 20 meters is still open too.
But Europe comes in like gangbusters.
Yeah.
I don't have any trouble with Europe at all. West and East Europe. I've worked some Eastern European countries. I've worked, let's see, Bulgaria and Slovenia.
You worked any Ukrainians?
No, I don't know that they're letting any of the hams in Ukraine still operate. They may have them.
They're still transmitting.
Or are
I've
they?
seen them on FT8.
I worked the Ukrainian, but he was remote. He was a W6/
Yeah,
his call. So he was over here.
Yeah,
I've
good
worked a
place,
lot of
good place to be.
yeah. I've worked several Ukrainians recently. Not very many, not like there used to be. Also worked in Romania yesterday.
Where's 4Z4DX?
That's probably Israel. Is it, you seeing it right now?
No, I worked it the 27th of April, but it was a W4/4Z4DX. And that was a FTA contact.
Yeah.
So does
But-
that mean he's remote, or does that mean
Yeah.
he brought his stuff over here in his?
He could be remote, or he could be operating in the W4 call area.
Okay,
That's normally what it is.
That one guy, that Ukrainian, said that he was on his page. I looked him up on QRZ, said he was remote. So he's not going to tell you where he is.
So what's that 4x4? Is it 4x4 call?
It's a 4Z4DX.
I want to see if I've worked him before. No, I haven't worked him, but he's in Israel. I mean, the 4x4 is an Israel call sign.
Yeah. But I don't know where he was, because they don't have to tell you. And the QSL data, that's not going to be relevant unless he's posted it. But
Well, he's probably, if he's a W4/4x4, he's probably in the United States.
okay.
I just worked at 4Z5 Israel station on 20 meters the 10th of this month.
That's today,
Oh, it is today, yeah.
the 10th of this month.
I worked, I got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them in there for today. I got Romania, Israel, Korea, South Korea, and Rhodes. That's a Greek island.
I don't know, one thing that may help me with Europe is the way my land is laid out. I'm kind of on top of a hill, and it slopes off to the north and to the east.
Mm-hmm.
It's all sloping, so it
Yeah.
slopes off in the direction of Europe.
Yeah.
It doesn't slope off in the opposite direction. It's not going uphill, it's fairly flat, but I do have some downslope in that direction, and I understand that is helpful.
Yeah.
The downsloping terrain gives you a little better takeoff angle or something.
Yeah, it does. But you still should have no trouble working Japan. There's a lot of stations in Japan. I mean, I don't even call Japan stations. They call me, and a lot of times after I work an Indonesian or Australia or New Zealand, when I get through working those, there'll be 2 or 3 JAs calling me, and I try to work them, but they have a short span of memory. After I work 1 or 2 of them, rest of them quit.
Well, there's probably a jillion stations in Japan.
Oh, there is. Because they can buy a Japan radio there.
Yeah. That Estonian station, from looking at the antenna farm they had, I think there's some Russian oligarchs involved there somehow, because
Yeah.
they're right up against Russia.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody, I mean,
Well, a lot of club stations are huge stations because a ham club builds them, DX station. There's
Well, this
several of those around the world, not just in Europe. There's, in United States too.
yeah. Yeah, the DX Engineering guy has a enormous club station with an antenna farm that must have cost him, I don't know, millions.
But the thing of it is, he bought that stuff at wholesale price.
Yeah, he bought it at dealer cost, didn't he?
Yeah. So he might have saved $500,000 there.
You ever meet him when he was in Oklahoma, Ken?
No, I haven't. I've never met him.
What was he doing in Oklahoma, by the way?
I don't remember what his job was, but he lived in Edmond. And he was a member of the Edmond Club when I was.
So that was before he started DX Engineering, I assume.
I'm not sure if he was with them and here on some other, for some other reason, or if he went to DX Engineering from here. I think that's what happened. He left Oklahoma to go to DX Engineering.
But he owns the place now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
The interesting thing about it, they're tied in with Summit some way. I don't know exactly how. Their retail outlet up there is actually in the Summit building, where I don't know if you're familiar with Summit. Summit is a huge retail sales place that sells car racing parts
Oh,
for drag racing and any kind of racing, but they're a big outfit. And when DX Engineering opened up their retail store, it's in the Summit retail building. It's over in a little corner. It's not really very big, but I noticed when I was getting I bought quite a bit of stuff from DX Engineering, and some of it was being shipped by Summit, and I thought, what? Turns out that I don't know, somebody said they thought the guy that owned Summit was his brother-in-law or something. I don't know. I'm not sure that guy actually is involved in the day-to-day operation too much of DX Engineering anymore. I think he's still owns it and is the CEO, but I think he spends a lot of time out there where he's got a house out there, a fairly nice house
yeah.
out where that big antenna farm and all those transmitters and everything are located.
Yeah, I looked at his YouTube tour of the place. It's very interesting. He can have like 18 operators at one time.
Yeah, I don't doubt that a bit.
Yeah. And I don't know how they organize it so that they don't step on each other, but it's a lot of acres that he's got antennas on.
Yeah, he's got a lot of antennas, big ones, big towers.
Big beams and rotatable towers, and you name it, it's there.
Yep.
And the coaxial runs and switches and all.
Yeah. Yeah, he spent a ton of money on it. And I think the only time they really operate out there is during contests, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think he does any casual operating. I think it's all contesting.
That's a lot of money just to be a contest station, but
He invites hams in to operate, and he invites one in particular because they're the chef.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, hey, Bill, Ken, Mike, I'm gonna head. I'll see you guys next week, okay?
All right,
Okay,
Mike.
Mike, take care.
We'll be looking for you.
All righty.
See you later.
I gotta go get a drink, and it's about 9 minutes away from find the right mouse. 9 minutes away from web net time. So I'll step out here for a minute, get some more water.
Okay, Mike.
So I've been thinking about building an amplifier. There's a ham, and I can't think of his call right now, but he sells the amplifier pallets and all the boards that you need to put together an amplifier.
I recently come across something like that, and I was thinking about that too. And I noticed Mike didn't mute his microphone when he left. So let me open up and see if I bookmarked that place and see if it's the same one you're talking about.
He's pretty well known because see if I've got it written down here, anything.
Okay.
This is part 1 of a video series.
I don't know if you can hear that audio or not. If it does, I'll mute it. Are you hearing any audio
Yeah,
other than me?
yes. A little bit in the background there.
Yeah. Okay, this is a solid state LDS MOS HF amplifier.
Yeah. Does he sell all the
Oh, it
other
says
boards that go
Mercury
with it?
3 on this thing. Does that sound right?
Say again?
I'm gonna close it. Close it because I don't want to put that audio out over.
He sells, he is a ham, and he sells the pallets and the low pass filter boards and the whole works. I mean, if you ordered everything from him, you'd have everything to put together an amplifier except for a case. And he's got an agreement with a sheet metal shop. Well, he does some of the sheet metal, but he doesn't do the front panel or the rear panel for some reason. But
Do you have his
you could,
RL?
if you bought all of his boards, you'd have everything you need to put together a complete amplifier. The switching and the low pass filter board, the whole works. And his stuff is fairly reasonably priced, I think, But I tell you right now, you can't buy an amplifier online. I mean,
Yeah.
not online. You just can't buy an amplifier.
Yeah.
Everybody's out of stock.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what's this guy's URL or the name of the amplifier so I can look it up?
well, he doesn't really have a name because he doesn't kit it, but he has a website with all that stuff on there.
Okay, what's his website?
Well, I'm looking for it, but
Okay.
I'll probably have to get back to you on that.
Well, you can always email it to me.
Yeah, I can email it.
The URL. I'll look at. I'm kind of interested in doing that too, and I wouldn't mind building a amplifier like that, kit like that. The one you're talking about, use the LDS MA, LD.
Yes. Yes. The really later versions of the LD MOS that are supposed to really be bulletproof, pretty much. Plain
Okay.
nail.
I'm going to go back to this one and See if I can,
He's back east somewhere, and this notepad that I've got here, I don't think I've got his call sign on it, but I do have it written down and I will send it to you.
I've got this YouTube thing going. I'm gonna see if I can copy the URL and post it. The URL doesn't say anything about what it is.
Then there's another guy down in Florida that makes an amplifier called the Mercury 3.
Okay, that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
And
That's not a kit. Well, it is and it isn't. You can buy it either as a complete amp now. It is FCC approved. So he will sell you a complete version of it. But when you order his so-called kit, all that you do is run a few pieces of coax
mhm.
to hook
Oh,
board A to
okay.
board B.
So
You don't do much at all.
yeah, so he's got it built, and you just do that, so he can call it a kit. And that
Exactly.
keeps him from having to have all that URL approved stuff.
Yeah, he did get it URL approved though, or FCC approved.
Yeah.
And he charges $300 more if you want, if you want it fully assembled
Mhm.
and tested.
So what's
Now-
the bottom line?
Yeah, the other way, all the boards are tested and everything is tested, but you do have to do a little bit yourself. And mainly it's just running some pieces of coax inside.
So what's the
Um,
bottom line on that?
I've got $2,500 written down here.
That's more than I want to pay.
It's 1,300 watts. And it's got, that comes complete though with power supply and everything, it's a complete box. This other guy that I was telling you about, he sells the individual components, but like if you buy a pallet from him, an RF pallet, amplifier pallet, it's fully assembled and tested. And if you buy a low pass filter from him, and you may be able to buy the board and the components and put it together yourself, or I think he sells it that way too.
Yeah.
Or he will assemble he'll sell you an assembled version of any of his boards
Yeah.
that are fully assembled and tested, and then you'd have to, mount all the boards in a case and hook everything up, and there'd be quite a bit more to it that way. So you can kind of pick what level you want, whether you want to try to do all the assembly yourself. Some of its boards have a lot of chip capacitors and resistors and things on them that would be, a little more difficult to solder to a board.
Mhm.
You'd have to.
I just got through putting a URL to that one in the chat page.
On the Mercury?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
got a YouTube video.
Yeah, I've watched all his stuff. But he's quickest you can get an amp from him is, he said, was November or December.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I'm not paying $3,000 for an amplifier. If I do, it's going to be an Ellercraft amplifier. I can buy one of them for
not for
$3,000.
$3,000, can you?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah. Factory built.
The Ellercraft amp is only $3,000?
Depends on which one you get. I'm not talking they make a 500 watt one. That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
And they make a 1,500 watt one, which
Yeah, I think it's like $7,000 or something.
I don't have a need for a 1,500 watt amplifier. I guarantee you, if you go 1,500 watts, your coax better be up to par, and your coax connectors and your antenna because you start finding problems when you put 1,500 watts down a coax.
You find out the weak spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine you're right. Then there's another one out of Germany called RF Kit.
Well,
Um, It's been around for a while, and they used to sell that thing as a kit, kind of like the Mercury, where it was almost fully assembled and you had to do a few things to finish it up.
mhm.
But he got FCC approval and he quit selling that as a kit. And they only sell it as a fully assembled and tested unit now.
Well,
And
yeah, it's a lot of work to build a kit. There's a lot of paperwork and instructions on how to put things together that you spend months putting together information on assembly drawings and things. A lot easier just to sell it factory made.
yeah. Well, they must be selling quite a few of them because they're 3 months behind on delivery too.
Yeah.
And
So you've looked at the Elecraft website?
I've looked at most of them, just casually looking around, and I was thinking the Elecraft was really expensive, but
It is, but it's really nice. 500 watt one matches my transceiver. I was gonna buy one of them. Never did do it, and whenever I got into digital mode, I decided I didn't need an amplifier.
well, from all the contacts you're making, you apparently don't need it very bad.
I work all over the world. Kind of hard to work some of the stations in Thailand and India. India is pretty difficult. There's not, it's on the other side of the world from here.
Yeah, so Singapore,
Yeah,
halfway around the globe.
yeah. Well, as far as distance goes, I worked a few stations in Western Australia, and they're 9,700 miles to Perth, Australia. That's a VK6 call sign.
Well, I guess that station, that New Zealand station, he said he was on the southern island of New Zealand.
Mhm.
That's probably about the same distance as Australia, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not quite as far. I've worked Tasmania. I've worked several Tasmanian stations. They're VK7s, and that's off the south tip of Australia. But it's still not as far as Perth, Australia, which is Western Australia, all the way across to Australia from here. VK6 is their prefix. New Zealand's quite a bit closer than that. I can look up a New Zealand call and see. Well, I've got 133 New Zealand's logged. Let me find a recent one.
So when's 10 meters going to open up?
It's open every day, but not very good. I'm going to look up this ZL2. I could look up the one you worked. What's the call sign?
Well, I don't know. me see. I'll have to go back into logbook here.
You can do a pretty quick search in the logbook by just typing ZL or ZL in the where the call sign is and hit search. It'll bring up your ZLs.
Well, I don't have that many contacts on here. It'd take me long to look. Where is it? Oh, here it is. ZL3RJ.
His name is Ross Johnson.
Yep. Now, I don't know if this is right or not,
And
but I've got it down that I worked him on 10.
well,
And
okay,
the same day I must have, yeah, I guess I did because I worked a station in Italy on 10 that same day.
okay. The distance to that ZL is 7,851 miles. So that's short of Australia and Singapore and those.
Yep, that's farther on around the globe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I worked him on 10.
Yep.
That's the only 2 contacts I've got on 10.
Well, 10's not been open very good lately. I check 10 every morning whenever I power up, and then through the day I go back and check. I go back and check 6 and 10 to see if they're open. And 10 has been open some to South America, but I don't consider that to be open. But here a while back, 10 was open good to Europe.
I worked Brazil on 10,
Yeah.
and I worked Venezuela on 10. I forgot about those 10-meter
Yeah.
contacts.
Yep.
And I worked K5 DNL on 10.
Yes, you did.
Contact number 1. You're the first on the list, Ken.
Yeah. That way you won't forget me when I'm gone.
I may be gone before you.
I don't know.
You seem pretty healthy.
I'm slowing down, that's for sure.
Well, I've been slowed down for a while.
Yeah, 20 meters. And well, your antenna should do good on 15. 15's been good lately too. 15's still open right now. I'm still got a bunch of them on 15 right now. You need to look into digital mode. I think you'd like that. It's a little bit easier. My voice wears out from talking too much. I talk more on this meeting here than I do any
Yeah.
other time.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, well, most of those DX stations don't want to talk to you very long anyway.
That's true.
I haven't found one yet that wanted more than just a real quick exchange of
Yeah.
location and
Yeah.
signal report. And
Yep. I know what you mean. And it'd kind of be nice to do a little chatting with them sometimes. But
Yeah, I
the
did.
the thing of it is they're working stations one right after the other, you know. And
Most of them are, yeah.
Yeah.
Big pileups. I did monitor and tried and thinking that if they ever ended their QSO, I'd maybe talk to the German station, but the German guy was talking to a guy in Michigan, I think.
Mhm.
And they had a long conversation.
Yeah.
The guy in Michigan really ticked me off. he was really running the United States down, telling the guy in Germany what a horrible place it was to live, and
Yeah.
really aggravated me.
Yep. I know. Best country in the world.
Yep. He just went on and on about all the problems we've got. And,
Evidently, he hasn't been in any other country.
yeah, let him go.
Yeah.
Let him go try it in Russia or
Yeah.
somewhere and see how
Well,
it looks.
yeah.
If I could have broken in, I would have.
Yeah.
I felt like breaking in and telling him if he didn't like it to,
Move on.
move to Canada
Yeah.
or Mexico or wherever. See, I like that. But I didn't.
Yeah. Well, we don't have to put up with that stuff on digital mode because it's a quick contact.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although there is some digital modes keyboard digital modes where you can talk back and forth on the keyboard. But most people use FT8 since it came along. Because everybody's trying to work all the countries they can and all the states they can. And you can do it with digital modes without having to have a super antenna, and you don't have to have an amplifier. You can do pretty good with dipole and your 100-watt transceiver.
Yeah, that's amazing, that software that guy wrote.
Yeah, that's
Um,
Joe Taylor, and he gave it to the hams.
Yep.
Because he's a ham.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you said you kind of knew him, didn't you? You worked
Yeah.
with him on the 600
Yeah,
millimeter stuff?
I did beta testing on his software.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Wow. So you know him well.
Well, not personally, but we've talked on the air a lot and through chat page whenever I was working on the beta. I've worked on several of his beta testing programs. Years ago, we was working on one of them, and I think it might have been JT9, and we was communicating on 160 meters. He was in New Jersey and I'm here, and we was testing his software. And that's pretty amazing to be able to work New Jersey to here with, we were like running 10 watts a piece using that digital mode on 160 meters.
Is that an earlier version of the FT8? Or?
It's not, it's a digital mode, but it's not FT8. It's a real narrow bandwidth mode. The bandwidth of it is 6 hertz.
Wow. Well, FT8's not very wide, is it?
It's 50 hertz.
50. That's still pretty narrow.
Yes, it is. That's why on the waterfall cover is 3,000 hertz wide, and I can decode 40 or 50 stations at the same time. They're transmitting in that bandwidth.
Wow.
So, and I have decoded more than that, up to 67, I think, was the max stations that I decoded in one 30-second sequence.
Amazing thing how things have changed.
Yeah.
Since I was doing some ham radio back in 1960 or 61.
Yeah, we were using a hand key and voice. A sideband.
So I didn't even have sideband. All I had was a little AM rig.
That's what I was saying. Sideband was it was like not too many people had it.
No,
So we used sideband in the Air Force. Whenever I was in the Air Force, and whenever I was on Guam, we was using calling stuff. But whenever I got out, everybody's still on AM, you know.
Oh, the Air Force is buying Collins equipment, huh?
Yeah, I use 75A4 and KWS1s
Well,
for point-to-point communications.
it's interesting. Usually the government will go out and spend a lot of money having their own equipment built, you know, and spend
Yeah.
10 times more than they'd have to.
Well, Collins built some stuff that was military only, you know, but we use point-to-point. We use 75A4s and Collins KWS1 with their kilowatt amplifier and point-to-point stations. And I went all over the South Pacific setting them point-to-point stations up in 1960. I went to Kwajalein, Wake Islands, Philippines, and we went to Clark Air Force Base. Set
What
up,
kind of antennas were you setting up?
but we had rhombics and telex had a big monoband antenna, and a lot of these frequencies was close to ham bands, so you could retune a Yagi to a ham band. I mean, to right outside the ham band. And they bought some telexes that were specially made for military. That was a high dollar antenna back in those days, telex brand name.
Yeah, I guess Telex is out of business, aren't they?
I don't know if they are or not.
I haven't seen anything.
I haven't seen any telex in years.
I haven't either. Yeah, companies come and go.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen to Seagate because, you know, they never did get real heavily into solid state drives. And
That's a mistake.
yeah, it's a big mistake. I think I don't see how they can stay in business selling rotating memory.
I don't either.
You know, the price on solid state has come down so much.
Yeah.
It's so much faster that I
And
just
you
don't.
can put a lot of storage in a small package.
Very small package. Those little boards, you know, you can put a couple of terabytes or more on that little board that clips right onto your motherboard.
Yeah.
And boy, you talk about fast.
Called an M.2 drive.
Yeah.
Got it in all of my computers. I have one.
Yeah.
My drive C in these computers is a M.2 drive. And then I have a solid state hard drive for the second drive for backup storage drive.
Yeah, this computer I've got here on the desk is got a M.2 in it. It's a fairly new computer with a M.2 in it. Boy, I tell you, it's blazing fast.
Yeah. You ought to try copying a big file from an M.2 drive to another solid state hard drive. It transfers that data really fast.
Yeah,
Whereas
it
the old
does.
days, you know, it took you forever to copy a big file from one drive to the other. When you copy from that M.2 to another solid state, and I'm waiting for them to come out with a motherboard that's got two M.2 drives on it.
Well, the motherboard I've got in this computer has two.
Does it have two?
Yeah, but both the only drives I have in it are M.2. It came with only one, but it had a slot for another one, and I
Yeah.
bought another one and stuck in it.
Yeah,
For
and
the
they're not very
backup.
expensive.
No, they're not too bad.
Yeah.
You know, unless you buy a multi-terabyte, but
Yeah,
I think I put the main drive is a 1 terabyte and the backup I put in it was I think a 1 also.
you got a lot of storage in.
Yeah. And yeah, transferring files from one M.2 to the other in the
Oh,
same
yeah,
computer, it's
unbelievable.
almost instantaneous. I mean, it's just, you hit the button and it's done. Even a fairly large file will transfer just so quick, you can't hardly believe it. And Seagate's got some stuff. They sell some M.2s and they sell some solid state stuff, but The bulk of their business is still rotating memory, but how much longer is that going to be around? I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, is my audio coming through?
Yeah, we hear you.
Hey, evening there, Ken and Bill. Was listening to you guys while driving here.
How you been doing?
Busy, but doing good. And then
I
obviously,
haven't seen you in a long time.
no, yeah, I promise I'll drop in a little more. I've been dropping in, in person over here.
Yeah.
Quick question. You mentioned you had that Penang 9M station. Was that 15 meters? What time was that you picked them up?
The 9 Mach 2 station.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it was I'm working Malaysia and Indonesia in the daytime quite often.
In the morning?
Well, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning on.
Okay. Okay.
And this one that I worked was on 15 meters.
Yeah.
His call sign is 9 Mach 2 TO.
Oh, TO. Okay.
And he's on that island there.
Yeah. And then Bill, were you working for Seagate?
Yeah, I worked for Seagate.
Okay.
Bill and I both worked out there at the same time.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm trying to remember a bunch of names.
I was there for 27 years, and Bill was there for 37 years.
Okay, small
And
world.
we never knew each other while we worked out
Yeah, I
there.
remember. Okay. Now I remember you guys were talking about that.
So who did you know?
No, I'm trying to remember what's the guys. Well, I'm sure you know they when Seagate had that Singapore factory, they used to send some of the engineers over to the OKC plant for training and stuff like that.
Yeah, Bill went to Singapore.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
I'll be there. I'll be there end of middle of next month.
To sing in Singapore?
Yeah, I'll try to work you there with my call sign there.
All right. That sounds good.
What are you going to Singapore for?
I've got family.
Family?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then get from him. I've got a call sign there as well. But I usually can't work anywhere, and this is CW and voice. I can't work anywhere beyond up only into Arizona, and that's about it.
Well, do you do digital mode?
Yeah, I'll have that up.
You don't have to do digital mode.
I know.
So you have a Singapore call sign?
Yeah, 91 PK.
What is it?
9V1, 9 Victor 1, Papa Kilo. Hey, can you check your logs? Have you worked? I'm sure you've worked a 9V1 YC Yankee Charlie.
Just a minute, I'll pull up my my log.
There's only like maybe half a dozen or less HF operators.
So it's a 9 Victor
one. Yeah, well, which ones have you might have worked? I'm sure you worked a YC and maybe an XB.
I worked a 9V1 Victor on 80 meter CW.
CW, yeah. Oh, he's a really interesting guy. And
Yeah.
he's so that Victor guy, VV, he's on 80, right?
I worked him on 80 meter CW.
That must have been a couple of years ago.
It was in 2010.
Yeah, 2010. Yeah, okay. Yeah, then this is just a dive. I don't think he's on a. Yeah, he changed his antenna about 3 years ago. But any FT8s that you worked?
Say again?
Any FT8 9V1 stations you worked recently?
9 Victor 1 stations on FT8.
Yeah.
Let me look. I don't think I've worked any 9 Victor ones. I've worked all over Malaysia and there, but let me see.
Yeah, Bill, I'm sure you've been there a couple of times. You can imagine when you have 95% of the population in apartments, trying to get a good antenna set up is difficult.
Difficult. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, it is. it is mainly apartments. I mean, things are expensive in Singapore.
Yeah.
No,
Nice
No.
people though.
No 9v1
no,
Yeah.
I don't have 9v1 Papa Kilo either.
No. I've not worked. I told you I've not worked anything east of Arizona. But I'll pop in here once I'm set up over there and
Yeah,
try it out. And yeah, I'll get back on Discord as well. Set up a schedule or something like that.
that sounds like a winner. I work a lot of Malaysians and
Yeah, the 9M and the Indonesians, they quite a
there's a
few.
lot
of
of
them.
hands over there.
Yeah, they have a lot, and the what's the Yankee Bravo, the YD stations.
Yeah, I worked a lot of those.
They have a lot. They have quite a few big stations over there. Yeah, because who was that? Mark Clayton here. He's been trying to work the stations there, so I was gonna let him know what time. So you do catch them. You do catch YBs and IMs at about on 15 meters in the morning.
Yeah, actually all day long.
Okay.
There's probably some on 15 right now. Let me look.
Yeah, Bill, I'm trying to remember a couple of friends who they were that came over here in the mid 90s for the Seagate factory up in Oak City.
Yeah, we had quite a few people over. My group built the automated assembly equipment,
Okay.
and when we were getting ready to transfer a new assembly line of new equipment over, they would send a team of some engineers and technicians over and stay over here for a month or so, learning the new equipment, the new.
Okay.
So yeah, I and there was a lot of back and forth phone calls with the guys. So I knew a lot of them pretty well. I'd have to think for a while to remember some names, but back then I knew a lot of them really
Yeah.
well.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. I happened to. I was driving while I was driving back from Oklahoma City just now when I was listening to you guys on YouTube, and then I logged in for a while. I was gonna make a comment until I decided until I got here.
I'm not seeing any right now.
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of JAs. I switched to 20 meters. But there's probably some on the lower bands now.
Well, I know Indonesia on voice, 40 meters in the morning.
Yeah.
You hear them once in a while. But yeah, I'll have digital set up there, and we'll try a sked or something. It'll be fun.
Are you going to be operating digital only?
Nah, no. Actually, I'll be voice and CW.
No sideband, huh?
No, sideband.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I meant. So the last time when I was there, in fact, so the very westmost state I can get is I can usually get California all the way up and down the coast to Washington State, and then maybe Arizona, but nothing else after that, and until I get to the East Coast. The whole 5 land and 0 and 5 land is like a black hole.
Okay. The last Indonesian station that I have confirmed that I'm looking at on my log was the May the 1st,
Okay.
and it was YB1 MAE.
Do
Might
you
pop
still,
up.
do you
I'm
still
sorry.
have a home in Thailand?
And
Oh, myself, yeah, I do.
and the time that I worked, it was 13:31 Zulu,
Zulu, okay,
13:31
okay.
UTC.
So 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
No, 8 in the morning, yeah.
And another one was 4:29, and that was 1200 Zulu. And
Okay.
and then the one just before that, looks like I worked a few of them. They're pretty close together. Was a Yankee Bravo 9 FAO. Worked him on 4:29, and the time was 11:48 UTC.
Okay, yeah, it's all in the mornings.
Yeah. And there's a ZL1, about the same time frame. I worked Kosovo the other morning. That's a hard one to get.
What band was that?
It was on 15 meters.
15, okay.
And I worked Thailand. His call sign is E22 Hotel Bravo Sierra. That was at 1900 UTC. So it can be done.
Okay, yeah.
FT8, you'll have whenever you was over there and you said the furthest you could get was Arizona, what mode was you using and what band?
No, that was on voice and CW.
Yeah,
40 meters in the morning, evening over there, morning over here.
yeah.
Yeah.
40 is a pretty good band for CW.
Yeah, but you need the only reason that one is because we had a quarter wave vertical next to the sea. Next we were actually operating the islands on the air over that end of June weekend. I don't know if I'll be there in time for that.
I've been using my Unipole antenna. Did you ever look at the Unipole antenna on my website?
Is that something new? That's the one with your capacitance hat with a big top, with a big
It's a
with your four wire capacitor.
it's got a I have the big and 60-foot antenna that has a capacitive hat on it.
Okay.
For 630.
Yeah.
Is now on 160, but there's a Unipole is a 30-foot vertical with it's got some top loading on it.
Is that your 80-meter Unipole, that one?
Yeah, that's it. And that's 80-meter Unipole, but it works on all bands. 80, 40. Well, it works on all bands except not too good on 20. But the other bands are really good. It's a little bit harder to build, but worth the effort.
But your top loading wire, it does need to, you can't, you do need quite a bit of space to angle that. I'm looking at it, it looks like 45 degrees or something like that.
Well, the vertical is 30 foot.
Yeah, but when you're 30 foot, but
and your top loading wires should be about 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
Or closer to flat top that you could get, but
yeah, as flat top as do that. Yeah, so that still needs a bit of space.
Not too much, and that Unipole doesn't have to have such a extensive ground system like a quarter wave vertical does. I've only got 8 ground radials on that Unipole.
Okay.
And the longest one is probably about 50 feet, and the rest of them are about 30 feet. So it doesn't take a real extensive ground system, and that's what the old AM broadcast stations used back in the 50s.
Yeah, top, so you've got 4 vertical wires going up a bit like a cage
Yeah,
configuration.
there's
Unipole.
four vertical wires, and that's what raises the impedance of this. You know, a vertical impedance of a mono vertical is way down about 30 ohms.
Yeah.
Well, those drop wires raise that impedance up, and it makes it a lot easier to match.
Huh. And I think I heard you mention you're running under 100 watts for FT8, 80 watts on this.
I'm running 80 watts, yeah, and I'm working the
Okay,
world
nice.
on
Okay.
all these bands. I've even worked India recently on using that unipole over the pole. You know, the closest distance from here to India is over the pole.
Yeah, over the pole. VU. Hold on. So you've got. So hold on. The pole.
The vertical is made out of a 30-foot section of 4-inch diameter irrigation tubing.
Okay, but it's not insulated, right, from the ground?
You don't have to insulate it from the ground, and that's one of the advantages from it.
Yeah.
I have it insulated from the ground because whenever I use it on hundreds, there is an insulator under there, it's hard to see.
Okay.
But whenever I use it on 160 meters, I put a loading coil down there. It's grounded, but if I want to put a loading coil in there, I unground it and add the loading coil in. And I have a loading coil wound already the right number of turns to put it in there, and then I'm ready to go on 160. But I don't need it on 160 now because I've converted my 60-foot vertical to 160,
60.
and
Okay.
I'm going to use it next winter.
So that unipole is basically the same design
Same design as what?
as the 160?
No, the 160 is just a mono vertical. It doesn't have any. Yeah. Oh, that's a unipole right there.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
right. I had that unipole on 160 at one time. Yeah.
Okay.
Show the loading coil. Yeah, it shows the loading coil. See the inductor at the bottom?
Yeah, I see it. I know. Yeah.
And notice it doesn't take very much inductance on that
Yeah.
unipole. If you was trying to do a monopole antenna with a 30-foot vertical, you would have to have a huge loading coil.
Yeah, I'm surprised
160.
it's in a microhenry range. I thought
That's right. So and that's another advantage of using that type of antenna. You don't have, and if you don't have a huge loading coil, you have less loss. So you have loss in those loading coils.
So anyway, so basically that's your 80. That's the schematic. Minus the loading and the matching.
For 80 meters, you just leave the loading coil off.
Yeah, but it's the same schematic then.
Yeah.
Okay. So the wires for 80 is 30 up and 20 feet on the I might have to give that a try, man.
I've had a few people call me and email me for instructions. One guy in Nevada built one, and he was really happy with it.
Okay.
And
yeah, update your this page with a bit of construction info.
if you need more info, you can email me or call me.
Yeah, I'll get you on. I haven't even touched Discord in a month or in 2 months, so I have no idea what's happening.
You know, it's more difficult to build on a end-fed piece of wire or a vertical or a dipole, but it's well worth the effort. How many hams do you know that has a unipole?
In this day and age, not many. Maybe
No.
years ago. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can find.
Well, I designed it for a guy in California that didn't have a very big backyard. And he planted this thing right in the middle of his backyard. And that's really what the reason that I got interested in doing this is for that guy. He bought a 630 meter amplifier from me. And so I designed this amplifier, and we had a big loading coil on the bottom of it for him
Okay.
to operate 630 meters. Not very efficient on 630 meters, but it was better than nothing. He didn't have room for anything else.
Guys, I'm gonna drop off and say 73 here, I think.
All right, Bill.
We'll see.
All
you
righty,
next-
Bill. Yeah.
Good talking to you.
Yeah, and happy birthday, Ken.
Oh, thank you. And we'll see you next week.
We definitely will.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
So if you need more info.
I will. Yeah, I will.
I'll tell you, it is a fabulous antenna. I've been working the world on it.
Yeah.
And I can switch bands and not have to do anything but change bands.
My problem is that's my excess. I've got that's the only place I got an antenna on. It's 5 floors up from the it's a balcony at the 5th floor
Where's that at?
in Singapore.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's in Singapore.
Yeah.
Can you put
Yeah.
an antenna on the roof of that building?
No, unfortunately, I'm trying to, and I can't get anything out. So the last time round I've been doing a 17-foot vertical
Yeah.
clamp to it. Since it's metal, it's got a nice, and then maybe throw a few radials. I have tried this one. You can hardly see. I did try it off center fed,
Yeah.
slung it down with the coax,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
You know, I'll tell you the truth. What band are you trying to work from Singapore?
20 and 4. If
Yeah.
I hardly do 40 because my 40 is very inefficient. So I'm going to try 20. I do 20 and up, 20 and the higher bands.
You know, higher bands are probably better for you.
Yeah, because of I don't want. I try not to use the loading coil as much as possible.
Yeah, there's a loss in loading coil. Not
Yeah.
very much, but you want to get all that power to the antenna you can.
And then, for a while, all I was working with was just around 30 to 40 watts.
Yeah. Well, if you can, you can make a quarter wave vertical for 20 meters. It's not very long.
Yeah.
Even if it's kind of like a sloper or something, you can try that.
Yeah, a lot of it is the problem of if feeding it. So we'll see how. I tell you, the best contact back in 2015 or 16. I had a 5-watt QRP voice sideband contact with the guy on the West Coast. He passed away. With W6CCP. He had a. Was it a 4? Yeah, it was either a 4 or 5 element 20 meter Yagi. So
Yeah.
he's doing all. But in the end, we were chatting. We were having a QSO,
Yeah.
a voice QSO at 5 watts,
Yeah.
2.5, 2 to 5 watts, and
Yeah, that's what you used to be able to do on 10 meters, man. It didn't take any power at all.
yeah. 10 meters, you could use a width antenna, and
I've got a 10 meter homebrew 10 meter 5 element monobander.
he
And
says
those monobanders really have the gain and the high front to back.
this work in Malaysia. Okay, the monobanders are the front to back. Yeah, I really do need something directional because I need to be able to kind of just increase the signal to noise ratio.
Is there any way you can get a 2 element beam up there for 20?
I have considered a Moxon. So I may build a 20 meter Moxon or 50, maybe 15. The 15 is pretty good these days. The 15 would be.
Yeah, 15's been good. I've been doing a lot of good DX on 15.
Okay, I will consider. I'm looking at a 15 meter Moxon, and I should be able to hoist that up and at least get a good front to back ratio.
Yeah. That'll help get rid of some of your noise too. And that's part of your problem there where you're at is you really have a lot of noise.
Yeah. It's oh boy. All righty. Hey, yeah, thought I better check in. I've not chatted with you, you guys for a long time, but
Yeah.
I'm going to catch up something down here, but I will, yeah, I'll give you a holler on Discord or email if I need any.
Okay, if you need any info on that, I'll
Yeah.
be glad to give you
And then,
some.
end of June when I'm all, I should be set up by end of June, hopefully, and then we'll try a sketch from that side.
All right,
All righty.
you have a good one.
Hey, you too.
I'm signing off. I'll talk to you later.
See ya.